punch her cause he loved her. Used to be enough just to shelter. She seen it happen to her mother, so she knew it was love. Daddy used to hold her tight as he cleaned with the blood. And mom never let pop, so she could hold on to. She kept his photo on her desktop, right next to the shades. The one she wore.
Full song on the outro.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
11 unbeaten fighters on the card. 3 50-50s on the card. The 3 50-50s, Bivol Beterbiev, might be 50-50 in some of your opinion, but generally it's a 50-50. Undisputed Unified, 175. Wardley Clarke, 50-50. They drew last time, so that's a fair assessment. And SKYE NICOLSON and Raven CHAPMAN. It looks to me like SKYE is the better back foot boxer, but CHAPMAN can box, and I think she puts her punches better together on the front foot than NICOLSON. But let's see how it plays out. That's for the WBC featherweight title, women's division. I believe the first two ladies to contest the world title in Saudi Arabia, and certainly Riyadh season. So I'm making a little history too. 4 world title fights, 1 undisputed, 1 British heavyweight title. People are going to complain. They're not really boxing fans. They want to be the voices that try and upset everybody's experience. That's what they want to be. They don't add to the experience at all. Eubank has the most disappointing opponent, in my opinion. You know, SZEREMETA found his level 2020, 2021 when he was stopped by first Golovkin and then Jaime Munguia. Then he trotted off back to Poland, and he's put 4 wins together since then with 2 draws against, I'm not going to say what level of opponents, but I've never heard of him. Whatever that means, I've never heard of him. His last fight was a draw against Abel Mina. Anyone heard of Abel Mina? And this is who Chris is choosing to fight. And I do say choosing. Turkey would have gave Chris a few options of who he could fight, and this is who he's chosen. Let's not forget, his name came up first to fight Hamza Shiraz on October the 21st. He's declined that to take this fight here.
Chris Eubank Jr. is on the card, obviously signed a promotional deal/agreement with Boxer. What's your thoughts on him making his, I guess, return to British boxing? It's been quite a desolate.
I want to see him fight
12 to 18 months.
I want to see him fight one of our guys, Denzel or Hamza. That's what I want to see, but he won't have it.
You're adamant that Chris won't have a fight
don't
like
want
that?
it. He either price yourself out or he don't fancy it.
Okay. After
next
this
generation, 34-year-old next generation, ducking these youngsters.
But let's not forget, a few fighters got light touches in their first Riyadh season fights. Makhmudov got 1. Frank Sanchez got 1. The next time around, they got their asses whooped. Yeah? So Eubank is going to get 1 soft touch in SZEREMETA. He better with it, because after that, it's going to be a real fight. Either a 50-50, or maybe a fight that he's not favoured to win. Perhaps Conor Ben, who knows.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Shakur Stevenson versus Joe Cordina is a casualty of the last phase of boxing. In 2022, Shakur beat Oscar Valdez, a unification at 130. Shortly after that, Cordina upset the odds and knocked out Ogawa in the second round. They both called each other out. There was also Shaki Foster in the mix somewhere abouts. Shaki was talking about nobody knows Joe Cordina in America. But who knows Shaki like that in America? So what ends up happening is we didn't get Cordina Stevenson. We didn't get Cordina Shaki Foster. Promoters and networks not cooperating, not giving the fight fans the best fights they're demanding. So yeah, we're getting Cordina versus Stevenson, nearly 2 years late. If Turkey was around 2022, who knows? We might have got them in a Riyadh season card, unifying belts. But they weren't about then. A lot of people have a lot to say about Turkey, when it's Turkey demanding that the promoters and networks don't get in the way of fights, that the media don't get in the way of fights. I haven't seen many people, Eddie Hearn before Turkey al-Sheikh, stamping their passport, doing whatever they can to make these big fights. But yeah, I've been accused of being a fanboy of both of them. I just want to see them days gone. When a perfectly good fight like Shakur and Joe Cordina, a unification, it's not made. When there's no real good reason for it not happening. I just want to see them days gone. Nothing more than that. Shakur can't force the likes of William Zabeda. Shakur can't force the likes of Lomachenko or Tank Davis in the ring. So, for those who are going to complain about Joe Cordina being his next opponent in the comment section, you can say what you want. You're entitled to. I don't block people like that unless they're really disrespectful. You can say what you want. I disagree. You know what I mean? Similar case for Jai Opetaia. Jai Opetaia tried to make fights with Chris Billiam Smith, but him and his promoter too, he's to do anything for British boxing. You know what I mean? So Jack Massey has to take his place, and Jai is doing what he can do to make the unifications. That's a good fight. Jack Massey, last time out, beat Isaac Chamberlain. He's European Commonwealth champion, taking on the IBF Cruiserweight champion Jai Opetaia. Would have preferred to see Jai Opetaia in some type of unification. Noel McCarkin, I used to know him as Jerva at one time. Gilbert Ramirez, they're both on DAZN. Why can't that happen? WBA versus IBF. Chris Billiam Smith, Wasteman, isn't it? Wasteman. Opetaia tells us why that fight's not happening.
Right, the only reason that's not happening is because they don't want it to happen. The fight's ready to be made. The money's there. The opportunity's there. We're fighting on a massive card. I don't know why they're not accepting the fight.
Jack Massey.
Do you think some people overhype him a little bit, or what just kind of general thoughts on Jai Opetaia after what you've seen of him?
No, I definitely rate him. You know, it's hard to say. A lot of people are saying Breedis is over the hill, which he is a little bit, but he still won the fight and he still showed his skill set and his class. I'd say he's top of the pecking order. In the cruiserweight division at the minute, he's probably the best of the best. So yeah, that's what I'm in it for, to fight the best of the best. So that's what I want. And he takes fights. He doesn't mess about. You know, he just wants to get in there and fight. So I respect that. That's what we're all in it for. That's what we should be in it for. Unfortunately, some people drag their feet a lot and it sort of spoils boxing a little bit. So let's make these fights.
Now, Jack Massey is a SKYE/boxer fighter. And it looked like he was taking a few shots at Chris Billiam Smith for what he said there about fighters dragging their feet and how it spoils boxing, that they don't want to make fights, and Jai's up for the smoke and he's up for the smoke. Sounded like he was taking a few shots at Billiam, and rightly so, if he was. But I see Ben Shalom's play. I can see through it. Rather than risk the WBO belt that Boxer possess with Billiam Smith, he's sending the European and Commonwealth champion out there, Jack Massey, to see if he can pull off a major upset against Jai Opetaia, and then he'll have two belts in-house, and then they can make that unification on SKYE. I see what's going on.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Wardley versus Clarke. The first fight, one of the best British fights in recent years. Can't be mad at that.
That heavyweight fight, the rematch between Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clarke. Good fight last time round. I'm sure it will be this time. Fabio's coming with us now, and so I'm delighted about that.
Fabio's coming with us now, Frank says. So what is that? Is Fabio signed to Queensbury? No more free agent Fabio? Or has Frank got options on his next couple of fights? Regardless, Fabio's getting at the bag. So he's good. If Wardley's nose doesn't split open and leak claret profusely, he'll make the adjustments and win this time around, in my opinion. Stoppage.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Ben Whitaker versus Liam Cameron is not a bad fight. A lot of people might be thinking, bullshit! Nah, Liam Cameron last time out gave fringe contender Lyndon Arthur a tough 10-rounder. Liam Cameron coming back after testing positive for 25 nanograms of benzo. You have to go look it up, I can't pronounce that right now. A metabolite of cocaine. Tiny trace amounts. And they banned him for 4 years. They made an example of Liam, somewhat. Former Commonwealth middleweight champion. Was touted once as a talented prospect. And this is a good fight for Ben Whitaker. And it'd be good to compare how Ben Whitaker performs against Liam to Lyndon Arthur. Good little benchmark. Ringside Fracas on Twitter. He made a good point. Why isn't Whitaker fighting the winner out of Lyndon Arthur, Liam Cameron? Yeah. That would have been a better fight, Lyndon Arthur versus Ben Whitaker. Whitaker's been talking about the fast track. But apparently they're talking about Lyndon Arthur versus Dan Aziz. I mean, Dan hasn't won in his last two, has he? So I don't know if that's a better fight for Lyndon. You know, you could talk about the likes of INOUE, Tank, and Canelo. And let's talk about INOUE and the power move he made not to take the Akhmadaliev fight, RIYADH season, Wembley Stadium, 21st of September. Now I understand he's doing good business here. Carefully selecting DONHENY over Akhmadaliev is good risk-reward strategy because, in theory, it's an easier opponent. And whatever Turkey's paying him, the way the Japanese see it, INOUE will sell out in Japan. And it's not just that. The Japanese don't want to give up their territory like that. Yeah, they're in love with their INOUE events in Japan. So whatever Turkey's paying them, it's not worth them selling out. And I guess some people may argue, well, you could say the same with Canelo and the PBC. They don't want to give up their events to Japan. Well, Canelo is talking with Turkey, so more than likely he will do business with him in the next year or so. Then you can go from Frank Sanchez to Wilder to Andy Ruiz to a lot of PBC fighters who are defecting over to RIYADH season for the bag and just to get fights because the dates ain't there on the PBC. Look at Hurd and Rosario fighting tonight on ProBox. They're PBC fighters. They can't get no dates on their Amazon schedule. And here's the thing. The INOUE undercard was just announced. WBO bantamweight champion Yoshiki Takai takes on Diego Higa. Ismael Barroso, the 140-pound WBA interim champion, he takes on a Japanese fighter. But here's the thing. Who spoke about that today? Where have you seen that discussed on Twitter, this undercard? You haven't. Now, whether or not people don't like the RIYADH season card with Beterbiev and Bivol headlining, this is all what they're talking about. No one is talking about INOUE's event outside Japan. Nobody. INOUE is enormous in that part of Asia. He is enormous. He's huge. And he probably doesn't need the respect of anyone outside of that territory. But the facts are, the biggest gig in town is RIYADH season. That's that. Tank versus Rayo is a good fight. Of course it's a good fight. I'm assuming Tank's moving up. It's a good fight. As good as Bivol Beterbiev, as good as Fury Usyk? No. And that's not me being biased or a Turkey Al-Sheikh fanboy. That's objectively, I guess, I don't like using that word if I don't have to, objectively analysing that. It's not as good as them fights. It's not as good as the cards they've been producing on RIYADH season. According to this post on Twitter, it's RIYADH season 8. The USA 0. Wilder fell to Zhang, fell to Joseph Parker. Amor Williams fell to Shiraz. Ford fell to Nick Bull. Juan Torres fell to Andrei Nowitzki. Jerome Miller fell to Danny Dubois. Jack McGann from the United Kingdom knocked out Roberto Duran's son. Arslanbek Makhmudov knocked out Junior Anthony Wright. Can't see Jared Anderson. He got knocked out by Bacoli. It's 9-0. Shakur saw this post and responded by putting up the eyes emoji like, is he going to be next against Cordina? There's rumours that Devin Haney is going to make his welterweight debut on this card. Might need to do that. If Shakur falls to Cordina, that's 10-0. Beterbiev, perfect knockout record. And that aggressive counter-punching style of Beterbiev's will be tested because Bivol doesn't telegraph his shots, so there won't be much to counter. Beterbiev, though, walking down his prey, has been successful so far. He's hit the canvas a couple of times. Doesn't have the greatest head movement. And the wear and tear at age 39 gives Bivol a window of opportunity. It does. Sometimes it's easy to overlook the boxer who doesn't have a lot of knockouts, but in this example, he doesn't do much wrong in the ring. And it's easy to overlook that and just go for the brute force and go for the 20-0, 20 knockouts, no losses, no defeats, and pick Beterbiev. Jean Pascal, Sullivan Barrera, Canelo, Joe Smith Jr., Zerdo Ramirez. He's made a lot of good fighters look ordinary. He has. But I don't know if Bivol's got the extra gear. He's got the skills, but I don't know if he's got the extra gear. Beterbiev looks like he's got that Matthew Saad Muhammad, Michael Spinks finishing power at 175. When you get fighters who can put people away like that, yeah, I'm going to get swayed by the whole knockouts amnesia argument. I'm going to pick Beterbiev to grind this kid down. It won't be easy. Since I've been watching the game, I can think of 2 unifications for Undisputed. You had Dwight Muhammad QAWI versus Spinks in 1983. Spinks won a UD. It was just one of them fights, one of them rare fights where QAWI couldn't back his man up, couldn't get past a jab, Spinks won a UD over 15 rounds. Yeah, 15 rounds, people, 15 rounds. And then you had the flawless performance in 1999 from Roy Jones. Took Reggie Johnson's IBF strap to add to his WBC and WBA straps. I've got a very good interview with Reggie Johnson on the channel. Listen, Reggie was an excellent fighter. Roy put Reggie on the canvas twice and outpointed him. Unbelievable performance to do that to Reggie. Is it Roy? Is Roy the best guy you fought as a pro?
I would say Roy was the best. Of course, with the guy gifted speed and fast hand and fast feet. Yeah, he was the only guy that I couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I shouldn't say I couldn't figure out. He was the only guy that I couldn't, get to. See, the thing what people don't understand, if you go to YouTube and watch the fight when me and Roy fought, I did a tune-up fight in Pensacola. I trained down there. Roy Jones' father took a liking to me. Me and Roy sparred 3 times, and then he stopped coming to the gym. But the first day I sparred Roy, I jabbed and turned it into a hook and hit him, and I stunned him. See, I always knew that Roy was suspect. Think about the way the man fight. Roy never was real aggressive until he knew he had you, because I always knew that Roy chin wasn't the best. So when me and him fought, that's why I jumped on him.
Personally, I can't put Bivol or Beterbiev on the same level as Michael Spinks or Roy Jones. They went up to heavy and won world titles. Now you're going to say, well, the heavyweights are way bigger today. But Bivol and Beterbiev haven't even went up to cruiser, to 200 pounds, and tested the likes of Usyk when he was there, or Jai Opetaia's there now, Zerdo, Billiam Smith. They haven't even did that. But it'd be great to have an undisputed champion at 175. Been a long time.
It's been a long time. He only punched her cause he loved her. Used to be enough just to shove her. She seen it happen to her mother, so she knew it was love. Daddy used to hold her tight as he cleaned with the blood. And mom never let pop, so she could hold on to. She kept his photo on her desktop, right next to the shades, the one she wore when she misbehaved. And he had to put her in her place. She provoked it. It wasn't him, she was the real culprit. He would cry and apologize, make good love to her, make her dry her eyes. That's the life she accepted. Matter of fact, that's the life she expected. It just escalated. The paramedics showed up and she wasn't receptive. They took him down in a cop's car, took her to the emergency room. She woke up, she was terrified. He's locked up, she was certainly doomed. They wanted to know how long he was swinging on her. She just lied, said he never laid a finger on her. They ain't had time to linger on her. They said fuck it and released them both. Later on over candlelight he preached a toast about how we love her. Never ever heard her, little did she know 12 months later, same motherfucker be convicted for a murder. Home is where the heart is, so leaving home is the hardest. Even the smartest keep coming back, but you don't treat people that you love like that. Home is where the heart is, so leaving home is the hardest. Even the smartest keep coming back, but you don't treat someone that you love like that.